Okay, like, first of all, how's everyone doing? I hope everybody had a nice Christmas for those who actually celebrates it. I hope everybody is, just having a nice week and all. The weather out here, it is what it is. So, first of all, let me backtrack here. I want to first give a nice shout out to Ashley Miller, and her link to her channel is in the description box, or you can, yeah, it's right there. Pretty much, she got me into this new show called The Chi, which is pretty much centered around a group of African Americans in the life of Southside Chicago. Fair enough. I decided to go ahead and do this review because lately, because of the whole fall finale with Star and the fact that I don't have any other shows to review, I was scoping on to find out which shows that I can review that can be good enough for my taste, and fair enough, Ashley blessed me with one. So this is my shout out to you. If you're watching this, or if y'all out here know her or someone who knows of her, let her know that I gave her a shout out. Okay. So we gonna get right into this because this shit had me on my motherfucking knees. Like, girl, this shit had me fucked the fuck up from the beginning to the motherfucking end. So anyway, the show opens with Kuji riding around the city in his little bike and whatnot. I'm gonna let y'all know, I honestly thought that this little boy was a girl with his big ass hair. I have never seen her that big in my life before. So as he heads over to the shop to, buy some snacks and some drinks because, he's a little hustler, so he's trying to, do some other things to be able to make ends meet so that he can get his life together. Cute enough. So as he comes to the shop, did y'all catch Simon from How to Get Away with Murder? I'm like, so that's why y'all killed him off, because he got another show. Ain't that some shit? And that's probably the same reason why they went on ahead and killed Wes. But his actor is nowhere to be found. Where you at though? But anyway. So Kuji, being the smart ass little kid that he was, ends up trying to make a deal with the store owner with a few cents so that he can get his stuff. Cause shit that spoiled kids do when they want something, and he ends up getting his stuff and he rides off. So he goes over to this little quarter and finds this stray dog and feeds him, some beef jerky, and then all of a sudden he hears gunshots and someone arguing. This is the part where he fucks up. His dumbass walks over to the scene, finds someone dead in the sidewalk, hovers over the body, takes the dead man's shoes and chain, and tries to run off, thinking that he's slick. But the cops was like, bitch, you fucking thought. Cuffs his ass up, takes him over to the interrogation room. I'm like, you little dumbass. See, that's what you get. You know damn well not to go over to a motherfucking crime scene, knowing damn well how the political climate and the racial climate that we got in this motherfucking country, and your dumbass want to go and do some fuck shit like that. See, this is why most of us ends up in prison. Y'all don't know how to motherfucking get the fuck out of the damn way. Y'all just don't know. But anywho, so then we get into the next story arc, which is his brother, or should I say, I guess his stepbrother, Brandon. He's working at his job as a chef or whatever because, he's planning on, getting his promotion so that he can save up money for him and his girlfriend Jerica so that they can be able to have their own restaurant. Cool, that's what's up. In comes First Bucket Sarah, who is his boss's wife, helping Brandon, get the promotion and whatnot. And she's out here being a thought because she wants to fuck. And her husband ain't giving it up. So pretty much her little scheme is like she's going to go over to help Brandon, with his promotion to get his restaurant open and started up. While at the same time, she's probably going to use that as an advantage to kind of slide into Brandon to see if he might give it up to her. You little thought. See, this is... So she lets him know that, he got a shot at getting the promotion if he keeps up the good work. Fair enough. So then we get into this next story, and this whole storyline right here. First of all, let me just go ahead and let y'all know that throughout this episode, you'll notice that all the characters eventually gets connected all into one scene, and it all comes into play with the shoes. The shoes do play a big part into this because it eventually connects all the characters together into a certain amount. So, moving on from that, this next story has me hating children even more because this is how they be acting nowadays. And the producers who wrote this stuff really got this thing down pat on how kids act nowadays, because we get siblings, Keisha and Kevin. Kevin tries to text this girl named Andrea that he likes through his sister's phone, so she starts teasing him over it. So next thing you know, we get into him at school, and he meets up with his friends Papa and Jake. Papa talk about some, nigga, I ain't fat, I'm husky. I remember that. I remember when we used to call ourselves Husky, and how I would always see that as a name brand for size for clothing in the department stores. I remember that shit. But honey, you're fat. Accept it. So then, pretty much their relationship, their whole thing is they're pretty much pressuring him to, ask Andrea out because he's taking too long. Child, I already know where this shit's going. I've seen way too many TV shows to know how this whole thing's gonna play out. So fair enough. When Kevin walks up to, talk to Andrea real quick, she's like, you gotta sign up to the play to be in the Wiz if you gotta talk to me. I'm like, boy, leave. Cause she playing you. She playing games. Don't do it. Don't do it. Be smarter than that. But of course, because he's a kid, he's too young and gullible to understand all this shit. And I'm sitting here like, my lord, y'all is too damn young to be doing this shit. But of course he goes on ahead and signs up anyway, and I'm just like, you dumb bitch, but you a kid, so you too young to even see shit yet. So next we get Jacob Lattimore. I remember his ass back in the old days when mindless behavior used to be the shit back in 2011 or 2012 or some shit. Whatever. So he's in this room, ass cheek all up on the window, getting his dick sucked by Keisha, Kevin's sister. So he looking around to see if his mama coming. I'm like, boy, you need to be worried about some random ass bystander looking at your ass smeared up all around the window like that. Cause that's nasty. Don't nobody want to see your ass. Don't nobody want to see your black ass crack. That's nasty. That's lower than a security guard. That's no. No. So then, Keisha wants to fuck on the bed and stuff, but he's still worried about his mama coming, so he eventually goes on ahead and he tries to finish off. Next thing he knows, his mama coming. He tries to hide her under the bed, thinking that he's slick. And his mama comes in and she's like, "What's your name, girl? What's your name?" "Keisha." "You hungry, Keisha? You want to stay for breakfast? You like bacon?" "Too bad, because sausage is on sale, so that's all we have. Help the young lady up." "Oh, I know that's right. I know that's right. Get her out of here with your ho 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 ass. Merry Christmas." I swear. So then we have Reg. Reg is pretty much the regular old man down the street. And he pretty much is over here hanging out with his friends as he tries to flirt with a girl named Stacy, who he dealt with in the past, who he has a stepson with. So his friends let him know that it's over. It ain't gonna happen. They ain't gonna get back together. Next thing you know, we get a detective pulling up into the scene, let him know that his son is dead. So he drops him off over to the morgue, and he comes into the room. He finds his wife, crying and grieving over their son Jason, who is dead. Now, mind you, the dead son Jason is the same dead body that Kuji found earlier in the beginning of the episode. So this is where the connection is starting to unfold. So then they're pretty much begging him to see, who did it. And all he can tell them was that it was some kid that was in the neighborhood. So he couldn't really give them enough information on who the killer was. So at that point, there was nothing else that they have. So back to Kuji. He's in the interrogation room. The same detective who met up with Reg and his wife, his name is Detective Cruz. He comes in and asks questions about how he got the shoes. Did you take his cell phone because his cell phone was missing when they investigated his body at the crime scene? Why was you at the corner? Do you know who runs that corner? This is where Kuji's smart ass starts roasting the poor man's shoes, talking about he needs some Timberlands. I'm like, boy, if you don't stop. So, they establish a little bond or whatever, and they pretty much, he's trying to get the information out from Kuji to see if he knows anything about what happened that night. And when he finally explains to the detective that he was there to feed a dog, he lets him go. Alright, cool beans. So back to Brandon. He meets up with Jerica, who complains to him about his mom trying to reach him so that he can get Kuji out of jail. Pretty much, Brandon and Kuji's mama, she's an alcoholic who's going through some mental issues. That's understandable. So later they meet up with him at the jail cell after he was released. Their mom is all up in her feelings, and starts yelling at Kuji about him getting in trouble and that, you don't need to be out here messing around with the police. We don't talk to the police. We don't trust the police. And Brandon comes to his defense, letting her know that, he can spend the night at their place just to keep him off the streets or whatever. So she's like, I don't give a fuck, you do what you gotta do, but you ain't about to have me look like a fool. So she leaves. So later, he takes him back to his place, and him, Jerica, and Kuji, they have a little bonding moment. He starts cooking for the family, and it was cute for what it was. So the next day, Kuji goes back to the corner to get his bike, and he goes over to Jacob Lattimore, whose character's name is Emmett. He goes over to Emmett's place and sells him some shoes, which just so happens to be one of Jason's shoes. And this is when I realized that him and Kuji are pretty much hustling together, because Kuji is out here trying to make money to get snacks so that he can make ends meet for his life, while Emmett, hoe ass, is over here collecting shoes because he is a shoe collector. Okay, this is why I said that this is where the shoes come into the play. So moving back to the kids, Kevin is still struggling to ask Andrea out. And let me go ahead and say this. These are some cussing ass children. I have never heard this many curse words come out of a child's mouth in a good minute. It's like they was cussing up at 90 miles per hour. I know this is what they do behind closed doors or when adults are not around, but my lord, damn, chill out. Like, work on your vocabulary, because cursing does affect your vocabulary now. So anywho, so they over here, so Jake and Papa over here still pressuring Kevin to go hurry up and ask Andrea out already. In comes Andrea with the script telling Kevin what role he needs to try out for. So he ends up going for it. Later he heads over to the auditorium and he finds Andrea there. When the director calls him out, he's like, "What's your name?" "Kevin Williams." "Alright, Mr. Williams, what role?" Here comes Andre. He's going to be playing Tin Man. I'm like, girl, if you don't stop playing games. So anywho, Kevin finally has the guts to go and ask Andrea out, asking her if she wanted to go to the mall sometime. Come to find out that she already got plans with Jake that she was going to go to the movies with him on Saturday. So Kevin is in his feelings and he runs off. So later at the shoe store, we get Emmett over here buying shoes and whatnot, and in comes one of his baby mamas. This is where I'm really looking at his character sideways, because it's like, damn, you really are a hoe. So pretty much, she comes in letting him know that he needs to take care of their kid and that he's the father, because she got paternity tests proving that he's the daddy and that she already showed his mama the papers and stuff. And they're pretty much arguing, going back and forth over the situation, causing a scene at the store. It was like a regular episode of Love and Hip Hop. So then back at the house, Emmett's mama comes in with the child and the paternity test, saying, "You need to watch over him because I'm done looking after all these kids." And I know that's right. I know that's right. So after all that, she drops the baby off to him, and they have a little moment together. They bonded and whatnot, and they bond over a little bit. They bond over some shoes and whatnot, and he notices that they got the same taste in shoes, and he's like, "Damn, maybe you is my son." Dumbass. So later at Jason's funeral, we see Reg watching over his wife grieving over the loss. And I can tell that he is definitely going to do something about this, because I can already tell that he is already on the verge of getting or exacting revenge on who killed Jason and whatnot. And this is where all the fuck shit starts to play. At home, him and his wife argue over how Jason was a good boy and how he loved him as if he was his own son. She doesn't believe him, and the only way that he can be able to prove that he really truly cares about him and that he loves him enough like his own son, he needs to go out and find a killer. So the next day, he meets up with his friends and asks them questions upon what they saw, what they heard, or what they know about the night of Jason's murder. And one of them calls up Emmett. Was it Emmett? No, I don't think so. No, it wasn't Emmett. It was one of his other friends. And one of them fills him in by saying that they saw a kid with a large afro who comes over to the store regularly with his bike, every now and then. And at that point, that was enough information for Reg to go out and scope out that kid. So later that night, he eventually finds Kuji at the store, and then when he comes back out, he eventually follows him down the street. So when he finally catches up to him, he starts asking him questions about what happened, or why was he over at the corner, or what he knew about that night. And then this is what and what triggers Reg was when he sees the chain that he gave to Jason wrapped around Reg's neck. He goes batshit crazy and starts going all up in on Kuji believing that he killed Jason. This is the part where Kuji fucks up. Kuji's dumbass wants to say, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Like, this ain't my chain. I ain't got nothing else. I ain't seen nothing. So at that point, because Reg is already in his feelings, he's already believed that Kuji killed Jason. He's already like at him, screaming in his face, shaking him around. Kuji tries to explain that he didn't kill him and that he just took his stuff, and he tries to offer the chain back, but Reg, he just wasn't here for it. He just wasn't going to be able to hear him out. So then, meanwhile, around the corner, Kevin confronts Jake for asking Andrea out because he took too long. And then they overhear screaming go around on the other side of the road. So Kevin's dumbass walks over and sees Reg and Kuji confronting each other. And then, out of nowhere, Reg pulls out a gun and pulls the trigger, shooting Kuji dead. Reg runs over, sees Kevin, and runs off. So at that point, this scares the boys away from the scene. So later on, he comes over and he gives Jason's chain back to his wife, let him know that he supposedly killed Jason, that he got the killer. Do my video. So anyway, the police arrives and Cruz ends up finding his body. So at this point, Cruz is grieving over the fact that, Kuji is dead, because of course they had their little bond earlier at the interrogation room. So later Brandon gets a call from Jerica that Kuji's dead. And at this point, this is where it hits home for me. Because Brandon delivered some of the best acting that I've seen in a good minute. Because later at Coogie's funeral, Brandon's speech, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Bitch. His speech had me in my motherfucking feelings. Like, bruh, his speech got me thinking about my whole life. He almost got me though. He almost had me crying there, but hey, it is what it is. That shit was golden. This show needs an award. Okay, I don't care what no one says. This show really needs an award because this shit is getting good so far. Let me tell y'all something. So, after the service, their mom blames him for not watching over him, and Brandon and her pretty much are arguing back and forth over who didn't watch him, or you supposed to be watching him, or why'd you leave him alone, or who raised him better. And at that point, Brandon was over it, and he ends up leaving to go to work. So when he arrives at the job, his boss tries to send him back home saying, no, I heard about your brother's death. You need to go back home and you need to get some rest. He's like, nah, let me work. I need to work. Let me work. I'm like, damn, let him work. He needs the distraction. Plus, he also needs that promotion so that he can get his life together. So he ends up getting to work and he does a great job. So later after closing time, Thotty Hottie Sarah comes in and lets him know that he's close to getting the promotion. So Brandon is already getting his hopes up that he's getting close to his dream. Then him and her have a moment where they're pretty much just looking at each other, smiling and gazing at each other. I'm like, no, don't do it, Brandon. She's a hoe. No, don't do it. Don't cheat on Jerica. Y'all, no. So later we get Kevin, who is still worried about, the whole murder scene and how he feels like that Reg might come and get him and whatnot. So while at the same time he's still in his feelings about Andrea, he goes over to the director and tries to quit the play, but the director pulls him back and encourages him to go on and sing Tin Man's song Slide Some Oil on Me. He is reluctant at first, but he ends up singing the song anyway, and that scene was cute. It was cute for what it was. So later near the end of the episode, we get Brandon, who goes over to the store to pick up Coogie's bike, and he meets up with Emmett, who comes out and realizes that Brandon was Coogie's brother. So at this point, Brandon is in his feelings, and he's on the verge of getting revenge on whoever killed Coogie and stuff like that. So Emmett fills him in, letting him know that he knows Kevin through Keisha, who told him that Kevin witnessed the murder that night. Eager on knowing the information and wanting to know more, Brandon goes over to Kevin's place, and he's practically begging him to know who did it, who killed Coogie. This is the part where I wanted to get across the damn screen and slap the shit out of these kids, because here comes Kevin, who was reluctant at first because he was scared about getting caught if he told him anything. But what convinces Kevin to tell him the information was that he wanted the bike in exchange for the information. I'm like, you little bitch, you better be glad you on the screen, because I would have fucked you up if I was there. But sure enough, Brandon gives in and gives him the bike plus $42 in exchange for the information. So as they're walking down the street trying to find out who did it, Kevin points out that it was Reg, the one in the hat. So at that point, Brandon knows that Brandon has figured out who killed Coogie. So then the episode ends with Kevin asking Brandon, so what you gonna do? And that was the end of the episode. I'm sitting here like, damn, this was a cute ass little show. I fucking loved it. This show really was interesting, y'all. Y'all don't understand. This show really had me going. But leave down in the comments what y'all think, how y'all feel about this episode. Are y'all excited for it? Are y'all ready to see what's gonna happen next? Are y'all gonna see just leave down in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you won't miss another video. And I will see you guys. Next Wednesday for the second episode, since it comes on next Sunday. Alright, bye.